On today's show, we'll talk about stage acting versus screen acting, the actor-operator bond, Mank, Da Vinci, and of course, using your acting to put yourself to sleep at night. Just a little bit of business before we start. There may be a curse word here or there in this episode, so please listen responsibly. As always, our website, theop.io, is up and chock full of tips, tricks, and gooey operator goodness. Make sure to check out The Breakdown, where the best operators in the biz explain shots they have done, The Musings, where we discuss everything from quick tips to larger concepts of storytelling, the answers, the images, and so much more. This episode is brought to you by the Folex Max. So you want to practice your handheld, Steadicam, or even on the wheels, but you don't have a full-size camera to use? Well, fear not, the Folex Max is here. It allows you to attach your DSLR or other lightweight camera and distribute that weight in a multitude of ways. Now you can practice with a camera cage that feels the same as just about any size professional camera out there. For more information, check out folexmax.com. And as an added bonus to listeners, mention this podcast and you'll receive $100 off on your order. That's FAUXLEXMAX.com. Finally, if you enjoy this podcast, please follow us, write a review, share us with your parents, and talk us up around the water cooler with your friends. So grab a beverage, sit back, and enjoy the op. Thanks for listening.
Live it up, nice and quiet, and let's roll.
Away. Victor 30 Echo, take 2.
Hey, murder. Hey, Mark.
And camera set. And action.
Hello and welcome back to the Op Podcast, the podcast where we talk about operating and the art of visual storytelling. I am Dave Comides, your host, and coming to you from across the pond in London, from the CVP Creator Hub in Charlotte Street in London, because it sounds better than the center pitch at the Arsenal Stadium. I am here today because the ACO, which is the organization that highlights amazing work by operators here in London and abroad, was able to put me in touch with CVP and bring me here and have this space. They've got this amazing space here where you can come and try out cameras and microphones and whatever, and it's pretty incredible, and I thank them all for making this possible. Today's guest is someone who I just recently worked with. Very excited, as I always am saying I'm excited, to work with him. Ferdinand Kingsley. He is an actor, but I'm going to talk to him anyway. See what I did there? Anyway, some of his credits, but not all by any means. The upcoming Supergirl, the upcoming, hopefully, Da Vinci, which we just worked on. Silo, The Sandman, Reacher, Victoria. There's a huge list, and also like a lot of stage work, which was really interesting that he and I talked about. So I'm interested to talk about that. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, man. I'm immeasurably happy to be here.
It's good to see you.
Yeah.
So everybody here talks like you. It's weird.
I know. I've lost any charm I had.
You were saying, yeah. I mean, it's like sort of meaningless.
When I was in Atlanta, I was so attractive because here I'm just fruity, but there I'm like charmingly.
Yeah, you'd
fruity.
like order off the menu at the restaurant, and people are like, "Oh, he's so
honestly,
sweet."
like cab drivers, like, "Oh, are you looking to take a wife?"
Classic. So tell me, how'd you get into the business? How'd you get here?
I was born and grew up in Stratford-on-Avon, which is where Shakespeare was from. He's dead now, Shakespeare.
Where he was born?
Yeah.
Oh, because yesterday I was at the Tate Modern and the what's it called?
Oh, we love the Tate Modern to Shakespeare.
But right next to it is
the Globe.
The Globe.
Yeah, which he built in, with his mates built in about 1599.
Oh, he built it?
Yeah,
I know that's a recreation.
Not that actual. Yeah. It was a couple hundred meters down the road, I think, actually. But they stole. It was brilliant. There were different laws as to what could be performed north and south of the river. Basically, south of the river was the
laws of what type of plays?
Censoring and
really?
and I think there was also a lot of stuff to do with what fees you had to pay to certain things, and they had a dispute with the I think the freeholders or the landowners of the theatre, which I think was called the Theatre on Curtain Road in Shoreditch, that Shakespeare and his troupe were working at, and one of them had the smart idea and realization that someone else owned the land that they were on, but they owned the timber of the building of the theatre.
Okay.
So they stole it and they moved it south over the river.
There.
They moved it south over the river and built it there.
Wow.
And they were like, you owned that bit of land, we owned the theatre, and we built the Globe.
So there's a little bit of history.
There's
for
a little bit
everybody
of
in the
history.
podcast.
But no, I grew up in Stratford-on-Avon.
Yeah.
So we all only speak in Shakespearean
English.
iambic pentameter. If you listen very carefully, everything I say is in couplets. No, but both my parents are in the industry in different ways. My dad is an actor who is the unnamed elephant in the room. He's Ben Kingsley.
Okay.
My mum is
of
he's a young up and coming actor. I hope he's looking for his big break.
Yeah.
And my mum is a theatre director called Alison Sutcliffe.
Okay.
And they met in the 70s, working on a production of Hamlet in where Dad was playing Hamlet, in Stratford, and cut to 1988, and me comes along. But anyway, my parents broke up when I was very young, when I was about 3 or 4, but we stayed around there, and I used to. I mean, it would be easy to say, "Oh, I watched Dad and I wanted to emulate that." It kind of wasn't that, really,
because he's Dad, right?
He's Dad,
not Ben
and
Kingsley.
exactly. And you don't understand. You can't contextualize stuff.
Yeah.
Also, you're little. It's not like I'm watching his films every day. I mean, I'm maybe watching some of the sort of
Let's watch Sexy Beast.
Well,
son.
exactly. Although that came out when I was 13,
No,
and
I
that
know,
was
but
extremely cool. To that gave me a lot of
cred right there.
street
But
cred
but
growing
like,
up in
do
the
you
hood as I
remember
did.
a moment where you were like, oh, like he's not just Dad, he's like this other thing?
I don't.
It was slow. Or,
I don't. Yeah. I mean, because I think background noise. He was so often away.
Okay.
So I did know that he was away doing something,
But it
that would be
wasn't. But it's more like, what did you bring me when you got back? Like
Yeah,
all
yeah,
of
yeah.
us, right? Yeah.
But I think the real actual seed was sown, and I've sort of told various crap versions of this, but it's the truth.
But you'll
is
tell
that
the crap version right here.
Exactly.
Okay,
You can
good.
patent this one.
Fantastic.
My when my mum was working at the Royal Shakespeare Company in Stratford, and couldn't get childcare sometimes, or whatever, or she'd have to go in and give notes on a show in the evening. She'd often take me in, and I'd sit in the green room, and that's where I got the bug. Was sitting in the green room, going, probably got other kinds of bug as well, but that's where I got the. I'd sit around. It's firstly, if it was the evening, that's cool, right?
Yeah, because you're up
because it's fun and it's naughty, and you're probably a bit too tired.
And so I know, is the green room what I think it is, like where the actors hang out?
Yeah, the green room's.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Well, you all have different names for things. I thought maybe it was the boot or something like that. So
you're in the
hanging out with the
trenches.
actors.
No, it's the sort of cafeteria,
and
basically.
probably around all sorts of like inappropriate conversations.
Well, this is it.
Yeah.
And people are, you know what actors and crew
There's
are
no
like.
filter.
They're all trying to make each other laugh.
Yep.
All the time.
Yep.
They're bringing like the best, naughtiest versions of themselves. They're kind of like grown-up children.
Yeah. And they're showing off.
They're showing off. Yeah. They're usually wearing a costume.
Sure.
And then they disappear through these doors, and they go and tell stories and go on some kind of adventure for a couple of hours. To, I presume, rapturous applause. and I don't remember exactly when it was, but I do remember this feeling of being around it, having a cup of tea and a Kit Kat or whatever, or a Ribena and a Kit Kat, and being like, they do this all the time.
Like, this is a job.
Yeah, and I presume they're all in 100% employment all the time as well.
They do it all the time.
Yeah, they do this 365 days a year. But I remember just going, this feels so joyous and so connected.
That's great.
And I felt so comfortable and at home. And I would love to say, and then I wanted to go and change the world. That came later. Yeah, and any sense of a sort of social element, societal element of it came way down the line. It was a sense of adventure and safety at the same time, and community and family and friendship. Yeah. And I just thought it was absolutely glorious. So
You were probably like a mascot too, right? Like everybody, you were like everybody's little.
A lot of the actors there who they'd have kids and they missed their kids.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. And when my mum took one of the plays that she'd worked on to Japan with the RSC, she took a production of Love's Labour's Lost. My brother and I went out to visit, and there were actors there who were missing their kids, and they'd sort of take me around on their shoulders walking around Tokyo, and
That's great.
So you become this sort of circus family in a way. And I did little kid parts at the RSC, and I played like Boy at Party in.
I think I remember the write-up of that.
Oh,
actually.
yeah.
No. I remember. I didn't know who you
ruined
were at
the whole
time.
play, is what it said in the review. I think. I think that was a production of Romeo and Juliet. I would have been about 6 or 7, and it had brilliant actors. It had Zubin Fowler, and it had Paul Bettany played Mercutio. I was, as I say, Boy at Party.
Do you remember that being exciting, or
it was
were you
amazing.
nervous, or
No,
was it
sure. I
just
mean,
like...
I remember getting in trouble once for. I also played Friar Lawrence's page at the end, and I had to come on holding a cross when Friar Lawrence was very sad, and I got in trouble for spinning it. You know, during the saddest bits of the plays, I was like, "Wow, those things! I can do it like a spinning top."
This doesn't fit.
Yeah.
That's
So
great.
that's how I had to learn to take notes. But I loved it. Boy at Party was a great role. I got to play Snap on stage, eat sweets, run around. But I do remember moments of the play, and I remember going, this doesn't sound alien to me. I kind of know what's going on, even though it's in language from 400 years ago.
Yeah.
Not because I'm some genius, but because it's like when you actually tune into it and you're around great storytelling, like you can sometimes watch a foreign film and convince yourself that you understand
Yeah.
the language.
Yeah.
So that I did a production of Little Eyolf, an Ibsen play, very depressing Ibsen play, where I played Little Eyolf, who, spoiler alert, does not make it through the
Okay.
play.
Well, I was not seeing it.
And that had a young drama school graduate in it called Damien Lewis,
Ah, okay.
doing one of his first jobs out of Guildhall, and he was amazing. And so I did a couple of those, and I did youth theatre and stuff, and I kind of, other than wanting to be a footballer or a spaceman or a fireman, I didn't really, at that point, have much of another career path.
That was it.
Yeah. Later, as I got into sort of into my late teens, and I was weighing up what I wanted to do, I still think I always wanted to be an actor. But I had to entertain other possibilities to sort of test my desires, as it were. And I nearly got I got a place at Cambridge University, and nearly went, but then
Is that a big deal? I don't.
It's a fancy university.
Okay.
It's a fancy one, and it was like quite a fancy course.
And is that in? Would that have been in the acting program?
No, that would have been to study
Just
English.
Oh, okay.
At a really cool college, and I was tempted, and my dad really wanted me to go. And there was a moment where I could have maybe gone in, been a journalist, or weirdly gone into politics.
Okay.
I would have quite liked to have been a spy. The offer's still there if they want to get in touch.
Well, of course, if you were, you wouldn't be telling me.
Yeah, maybe I'd go on a podcast.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So I just had to drop in that I'm actually really clever. You know, that's why I got into Cambridge.
I totally get it.
No, but I only mention it because that was a moment of me going, where am I going to go as an agent? What am I going to do? And I got into drama school, Guildhall School of Music and Drama, and I'd auditioned sort of knowing that they don't take many people straight out of school, and for good reason.
Okay.
Usually they prefer you to have had a year or two
Of life. Yeah.
And they say as much in the audition. You know, they say, why don't you want to just go and travel the world or do something else first? And I was quite defiant. I was like, no, because I'd just spend a year waiting, and I just want to do this. And they fell for it. And so I ended up going to Guildhall instead.
And which is, I mean, a year, 2 years?
It's a 3-year course.
3 years. Okay.
And there's 23 people in my year.
Oh, okay. So it's small.
It's small. It's a big music college as well. So there's about 700 musicians.
And do they just teach stage acting? Not that, I mean,
Well,
acting is acting, but stage acting
yeah,
is...
they did when I was
Okay.
there, which is an increasingly long time ago.
Yeah.
I was there. I went in 2006 to 2009.
Okay.
So it's not like they hadn't invented film and TV yet.
Yeah.
But the training hadn't really caught up with it yet. And
whatever you want to call it.
We did something like a week of screen training, and it was a lovely TV director and the equipment that he was using or was given for our training. We were in some horribly unacoustically treated box, with strip lighting, and he had a handycam.
Oh, great.
Plugged into a CRT.
So you were all ready to basically go out and...
make a Von Trier film.
Yeah.
So that is no shade, as the kids say, on this director. It's just that
That's what
the training did not know, and it's one of the greatest drama schools in the country.
Wow.
They did not know how to approach training for TV. It was an incredible theatre training, and I still use it and think about it every day on screen.
Yeah.
But in terms of the craft of screen acting, I didn't have a fucking clue. And in many ways, I still don't. I mean, that's why I latched myself onto you from day one.
I didn't want to tell you anything.
Help me. Do I look into the camera or do I look next to the camera?
Where is the camera?
The camera's far away. Do I shout? Which I did do on my first TV job.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And they had to tell you?
The camera was, it was on a long lens. It was quite far away. And I was like, well, I should probably project.
They probably took care of that pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah, very lovingly came over and went, sorry, you're terrible. Your face is way
That's
too big.
hysterical.
But I had a great time at Guildhall. The training has modernised in many ways, but I can get quite pretentious about work and training and art and stuff, and I really value. I think there's huge value to be had in training. I think we've talked about it. I don't think it's the only way in by any stretch of the imagination.
Well, clearly it isn't, because so many people just come from other...
and some people just have... I absolutely don't think it's the only way. I think it's enormously helpful for your craft and for your discipline, and I think it's massively helpful in terms of a showcase for the industry.
Well, let me ask you a question about that, because, and this may be totally wrong, but this is my belief.
Yeah.
I think that you can train to be a TV and movie actor, and you can stumble into it because you have life experience and you just sort of get it, and you just sort of... I don't know that the same thing could be said for theater. I don't think someone could stumble into the stage and be able to, like you said, know when to project and know how to play to the audience and know how to...
it could be that you could stumble into it with absolutely incredible talent and emotional connection and truth, and you could produce the performance and the character of a lifetime, but could you then do it 100 times?
That's what
maybe.
Yeah.
And it could just be that those muscles are, just like a sportsman might have the most unbelievable vision and technique and stuff, but they might not have learned how to do that 40 times a season.
Exactly.
For 90 minutes at a time,
So for some reason, I think it translates to one and it doesn't translate to the other.
Yeah,
maybe.
I really value it. I value it for loads of reasons, creatively, but also, when times get tough and I'm stuck in a rut and I need to fall back on something and I go, right, what can get me out of this? Is it a case of finding where to breathe or whatever? I hear the voice of some teacher in my head who might say something that's actually nothing to do with technique, but it might have just been someone who was, when I was 19, was in my ear going, stop trying to please X, Y, and whatever it is. I think there are plenty of people who are just as talented as people who've trained, who will fall into great work. Whether they can sustain it, who knows?
Who knows? Yeah. Oh, interesting.
And then of course there's the element of momentum and luck. You could have sort of accidentally got your first brilliant job by being perfect for it, and then the right people see you and you keep.
Yeah.
But I think having trained for me has helped me feel like this is going to be, if I'm lucky, a long career and something that can shift and change, and I'll hopefully grow into different kinds of actor as I slowly mature.
That's not going to happen. So you got out of school, and did you then just basically go straight to theatre from there?
Well, I graduated into a global recession, which was fun.
Which is always fun.
So we all came out and were like, we were told we were a vintage year.
This is not.
Where are the jobs, and why aren't they making any? Why aren't they making any film and TV?
Yeah.
But no, I got a really good agent who saw me do a couple of really nice parts in my final year. In your third year of training, you basically just do productions over and over again.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah. And I had a couple of really nice parts, and a very up and coming fancy agent signed me, and then I didn't do any telly for a while. But not out of choice. I wasn't.
It just wasn't coming.
Yeah, there wasn't much being made, and
Yeah.
what was being made, I was getting close to, which is something we'll obviously end up talking about. You know, the proximity to great jobs.
Mm-hmm.
But then I got some really fab theatre work quite early. I did about just over a year, more like a year and a half, straight through at the National Theatre.
Okay.
And that was, I mean, it was amazing.
What was amazing? I mean,
it's so much about it. It's the National, especially when I was there, they had plays in reps. So there was like the building itself has 3 theatres in it.
okay.
And each of the theatres at that time would have 2, sometimes even 3 productions on, and they would change over overnight.
Wow.
So yeah, the crew would do all-nighters.
Wait, the same stage has
Same stage.
Oh, wow.
And they would fly up into the gods, into the tower.
And then the next one would come
And
down.
they'll come down or come up from underneath. They'd change them overnight, or you do 3 or 4 in a row, and then they'll do a changeover. And so there's so much going on.
Yeah.
It also means that you get quite a lot of time off.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You know, you get 3 nights on and then a couple of nights off.
Uh-huh.
You're also, at that time, being paid about £400 a week, so you feel like a millionaire.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm 21. I'm
What am I
paying
gonna do with that?
400 quid. That's more money than I'll ever need.
Yeah, yeah.
The one beer is on me. There were loads of young people who had recently graduated who were sort of playing different sized parts, so we were sort of coming up together. I did my first play I did there was directed by an amazing director called Richard Eyre,
Mm-hmm.
who had previously been the artistic director. He had run the theatre in the past, but was coming back as a visiting director now, and had a really unexpectedly interesting, cool part in a play called Welcome to Thebes, which was the Antigone story, but put in modern day Liberia.
Okay.
So it was heavy. It was hard.
Yeah.
And it was amazing being in. I just felt like this is important. This is exciting and rude and confronting. And I remember being, you know, people in the matinees would come and think they were seeing Antigone. And the first line is something like, "Are you fucking cunt? I'm going to shoot." You just hear the seats go as people walk out. Yeah. No.
That's hilarious.
It was great. And then I got a part in a production of Hamlet that Nick Heitner was directing, who was the artistic director at the time. And it was to play Rosencrantz, which is like a nice mid-sized part. So if you're 21, you think this is an amazing part. Mm-hmm. And it was also, I was understudying Hamlet. So I was covering Rory Kinnear, who...
Oh, I didn't know that you could have a main part and still understudy. I always thought it was like much lesser parts that...
Yeah, I mean, Rosencrantz isn't a main part, but it's a part that quite often understudies Hamlet because of the times that he's on stage. You can make it work.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Oh, all right.
So yeah, and there's Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. The actor playing Guildenstern is one of my best mates, Prasanna Puwanaraja, who's incredible. You should absolutely have him on the pod.
Oh, yeah.
He understudied Horatio, and there was a load of us who were
let me ask you
who
a
were
question.
babies and watching people that I hate to say it because Rory's a mate of mine and I don't want to praise him, but like Rory's one of my favourite actors in the world, and I think he will.
And you get to
be one of the greats of his generation.
Yeah.
And please cut that out because if Rory hears it, he'll bully me. He's amazing, and I was 21 and watching him every night and learning this whole part of Hamlet.
So, but this is my question. When you're understudying,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it goes without saying you've got to learn their lines.
Yeah.
But are you watching everything they do on stage so that you can, I don't want to use the word replicate, but I'm going to, so that you can do it the same way? I mean, like when you're understudying, are you trying to go in and give the audience what they were giving, or are you putting your own spin on it?
I think you've got a responsibility to not you've
be
got to have
true to it.
Yeah, you've got to have the right level of ego that is willing to go, look, I'm serving the production, and what was rehearsed in this production over weeks and has played for months has a certain energy to it. And obviously there's the mechanics of it. There's the dance of the production.
Sure.
There's the production has a tone and everything. So you've got to honour that. But equally, I'm
You're you.
Intrinsically a different actor.
Yes, yeah.
And my interpretation was 10 years younger than his interpretation. So it's going to have a different energy.
Oh, that alone is going to change it, of course.
Yeah, so I think you've got to... There's a balancing act of going, I am not going to go... stick my middle finger up at another actor and go, actually, this is how I think you should play it.
This is how it should be done.
Because that's disrespectful and rude.
Yeah.
But also, you're not really gaining anything if you're trying to do a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy.
Yeah.
That's not what anyone wants to see in a play. They don't want to see you do an impression of another actor. Mm-hmm. Not that I could, but do you know what I mean?
No, I totally. But and I assumed that was the answer, but I wasn't sure because I've never really talked to anybody about understudying before. Yeah. So did you end up having to go in and play Hamlet?
No, because Rory's bomb-proof, and he refused even on the night that his child was born, and even when he put his back out and everything. There was one show when Rory hadn't made it in. He was really ill. His kid had just been born, and it was like 15 minutes to the show, and I was warming up and like. Both my costumes were out, like my Rosencrantz costume and my Hamlet costume.
And you're not sure which one.
I was like, which one am I doing tonight?
And then someone else is obviously warming up to be Rosencrantz.
To cover me, yeah. And then Rory sort of traipses in, being like, sorry. You were nearly good. You were going to do the show, but then I realised I could walk. So he's annoyingly bomb-proof. I saw he had flu. He threw up in the wings and went on stage. I was like, God, put me in, coach. I'm ready.
Yeah.
No
good
chance.
Lord, that's hilarious.
But no, I didn't. But I was when I got the part. Nick Heitner approached me in the canteen and said, just so you know, Rory's child is due on the night that we do this thing called NT Live, which is the show is broadcast to cinemas around the world.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And he said, and if Rory's child comes on that night, you will be going on. Okay, good luck.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is real.
Yeah.
But I loved it. So that was a year or so there, and it was only after that I started getting some screen work.
Well, you did several over the year. You did Hamlet for a year.
I did. So I did that, the Welcome to Thebes, which is the Antigone play. I did Hamlet, and then I did another show, which was a funny sort of... It was a commemoration of the King James Bible being... I know, it was 400 years of it.
Wow.
But it involved readings of the entire Bible by really, really good actors. So there's and me, and we did that for a little bit. Yeah,
Ferdi will be doing the next part. We'll be back in a minute.
Performance of the Gospel according to Mark. Sorry, everyone.
Tink, tink, tink.
Yeah, exactly. This is worse than the swearing.
But how many? So you're doing a play for a couple of months, right?
Well, we did Welcome to Thebes for like 3 or 4 months, and Hamlet for about 9 months.
So here, I have so many questions about this because it fascinates me. Yeah. But so you obviously learn the dialogue, which is probably the simplest part, but I find to be the hardest part.
Yes.
But when you're done with the play, does it go away, or is it still in there somewhere?
Oh, no, so I think actors talk about this all.
Can you let it go?
I mean, well, I think there's a process that the brain goes through, which I think is just a process of learning and remembering, which is manifested in this, which is. I mean, it stuck around for a long, 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 long time. I used to, when I couldn't sleep, I would see how much of the part I could still remember, and it was quite a lot for a long time.
So you would use your acting to put yourself to sleep.
Put myself to sleep. Yeah. It's that boring. But like an incredibly common actor's dream, and I bet there's an equivalent for you guys, is that the production of something that you've done in the past is being remounted, it's being put back on with something like 20 minutes notice. And
you're being, put your someone's putting your clothes on, go.
And with me, it's always like everyone can only remember one line from the whole play. And we just try and do that one line in different ways.
That's the anxiety.
And my theory is that is my brain jettisoning. I think that's the last little panic of your brain going, can we empty the recycle bin here?
And then after that, you don't have that anymore? Like you have it once or twice, and then
I won't like tend to dream about that job again.
But it'll be about
But I'll
another one.
like probably at some point down the line, I'll dream about the like we've got to reshoot that bit from Da Vinci.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. And you think that's
and
like...
and I'll have this thing of like, I didn't learn this bit.
Oh
I can
my
remember
gosh.
one line, and then probably I haven't scientifically tested it, but I imagine if I were to try and do the scene the next day, I'd struggle to remember it. My theory is that it's the brain going, I'm not sure we need this anymore.
I will tell you, after I do big shots, there are times where I'll dream about it that night.
Do you play back shots in your head?
I do all
I love
the time.
that. Do you?
Well, I don't. It drives me nuts. And there's one time that I can remember specifically that I remember I was doing a shot in my head, and I'm sort of seeing what the camera's seeing, and I can remember it stopped and was pushing and sort of trying to move, and then I remember sort of, cutting to myself and looking down, and my foot was caught on like I was in my socks, I don't know what it was like, and it was caught on a splinter on the floor. And like it was one of those things where I couldn't pull my foot up, and obviously there was some anxiety about doing. I don't know what that means.
Did you have a sense of what it might have meant? Or represented, or
probably something to do with like the way I was brought home from the hospital or something.
As
a baby, I don't know.
But you see it through the. I love dreams.
But I think
could you see it through the sort of lenses either?
No. What I'm saying is the shot was like me going through the shot, and what you would see as what you were seeing when you would watch TV, the shots.
Yeah.
And then as it sort of got caught and stopped, I sort of like was outside of myself, almost looking at
Watching
myself
it go wrong.
and looking down. And I remember then it was almost my point of view over my back leg, and my sock was there, and I was pulling up. I'm sure that someone somewhere is taking notes and going, get the medics over there immediately and take them away.
It's our brain's processing stuff, isn't it?
But there also is that thing for me, and that's why I was sort of wondering, was with bigger shots, not with smaller shots, but with bigger shots, there's so many pieces that you have to remember, and so many cues that you have to remember, and the physics of it, and the path, and the frames, and everything, that I think it gets baked in. And so maybe that is me going, let's think about it until it goes away. I don't know.
Do you do the thing that we all do, where basically the second you wrap or finish something, you go, that's how I should have done it?
No, it's the car ride home, usually the third or fourth stoplight, and I'll be the person like slamming on the wheel going, God damn it, I should have done that.
You've realised what the perfect...
It's the way home where I go, I completely could have done that better.
Yeah. And I bet that's, again, the brain like moving off one set of problem-solving skills and onto like...
somewhat. But also part of it is whenever I'm operating... so I've talked to people about this before, like when I'm setting up a shot, I go through these two things. I look for assassins and I look for opportunities.
Tell me.
And assassins are the things that will kill me, like the big hole.
Kill you or kill the shot?
Kill me.
Kill you and by default kill the
by
shot.
default kill the shot. Because I'm the most important thing.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but the big inexplicable pit of vipers
full
in
of
the
rusty
middle
nails.
of the floor
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
So, okay, we got to cover that up, and there's a big mirror there. I'm going to see myself. I got to figure out that. So the things that will destroy me physically or the shot. So, like, how do I get rid of all the things that will stop me from achieving the shot?
So they're the assassins.
Those are the assassins. Yeah. And then the opportunities are, how do I make it better? And what can I do to make it, I can round this corner a little faster because I'll catch that person going through the door. Or like, when I come up here, the light comes through like their hair really nice, or something like that.
Like the 1% gains of each.
Yeah. I mean, the weird thing is it's like, first what you do is you get rid of all the problems, the assassins, and then you start sort of like sanding it and honing it. So and it's like, it's like a potter's wheel. It's like you're pushing it and making it better. And it gets the big ones first. First you're like, I could do this. That'll make it 50% better. And then it's like, this will make it 20% better. And then hopefully if you've done your job better, you're at the point where you're like getting the thing like, this will make it 1% better, but I still want to do it. But that never ends. And so I had someone who was in a class that I was teaching say, did you ever put the Steadicam down and just go, I nailed that? And I went, that'd be great. Sounds really nice.
But we've talked about that on that brilliant episode you did about the 85%.
Oh, that's right. The thing we did on 85%. That you mentioned that you watched. Yeah.
But do you have a process to achieve that, or is it just you got to go through it? You just got to. Is it through repetition and failing, or do you sit down and you go?
You mean within a specific shot?
Yeah. Do you mentally go, right? What are the assassins I have to clear out? and where am I going to find the gains? Or do you go, I put the camera on my shoulder, I start moving, right, there's something I've got to solve.
No, that's what I go through it. Well, I don't have to go through it physically. I've gotten to the point where I can go through it mentally. But the first thing I do is I walk through the shot, and it's literally physically what's going to, like, we have to move this chair because I have to come through here. And then it's visually, obviously, like I said, a mirror in the background. And then once it's like, okay, now I can achieve the shot. I have an achievable shot, which is what they want. And then it's just, how do I make it better, and how do I make it better? And a lot of that comes before you guys ever come to set, because I've hopefully worked those things out. And then once you're in the mix, and it's like, oh, you know what? He's grabbing that pen off the table, which I never saw, so I'm going to be just wide a little longer to catch that.
I like being there when you're setting up shots. No, but I do. I mean, obviously, to like perv on it and be a nerd about it, which I love, because I'm a massive dweeb. But also, as an actor, I think stand-ins are amazing. But also, like, that's a charm. That's an opportunity for me to get ahead, to cheat. Right? I can.
What do you mean to cheat?
Well.
You see what we're looking for. So
I don't love, if it feels nice, like you're being treated very importantly and stuff, when they go, right, we're ready for you. You come in and you're just on the mark, and they're like, now work your magic.
I got you.
Great.
Yes.
I actually find that a bit more pressure than, maybe it's because I like rehearsal and stuff. I like being there while you're going, what lens should we be on? What size should we be on? Where should we be from above? Should we be below?
That is interesting.
What about
to me,
the props?
Because then you're part of the process, as opposed to, like, we did our part.
Well, it gives me a chance to mess it up as well without it being on someone else's time.
Oh, interesting.
So I would, if they would let me be my own stand-in, I'd quite like it, because also that's time for you to be in the space when there's no, like I say, you're not on anyone else's clock.
There's no pressure.
There's no pressure. You can actually start being imaginative. And give you guys a chance to maybe go, maybe actually those ears could be lit at that angle. Or,
Well, do you try to be a stand-in and they tell you to go away?
They quite often assume that we don't want to be
No, I know
there.
they assume that, but, well, because the reason I ask is because I know several, mostly actresses, which I'll mention why in a second, I think, who will go, no, I thank you so much, but I'm going to stand in for myself.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, it's because they want to be lit themselves.
Great.
Which you know is not. I mean, I shouldn't. I feel badly about saying that. I believe that's some of what I've seen. Some of it may also be what you're talking about, that they just like being in there. But
I think it's a bit of both.
Yeah, it's a bit of both. But it's a protection.
I'd be lying
whatever
if I
it
didn't
is, it's a
say
protection.
We can be vain. Of course we can be vain.
No, but it's a protection of, I want to look well, and I want to be in the space, and I want to feel.
I want to get a chance at this. I want to.
Yeah, well, we'd all love it, but not everybody wants to do that. So that's really fascinating. That's
like it.
That's interesting.
And I like reading lines off as well. I quite like it when I'm not shot first, when I'm just there for lines. Camera. Because you get to chuck it around a bit then, and you get to try out the different ways of doing it, and sometimes do a little bit more, a bit more of an exaggerated version than you would then do when the camera's on you, so that you can find a way to pull it back. I find I prefer it when you shoot the other side of the scene before you shoot me.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
Because the amount of times I'll do my bit and then you'll turn around and do the other, and I'll be like, shit.
That sucks.
Please, can I?
Yeah, welcome to most of my life.
Yeah.
But no, there is definitely, like, almost every shot at some point, and sometimes it's right after, or sometimes it's on the way home.
Yeah.
I'll just go, I just realized. But the thing that I've gotten to, and I would imagine you're there too, is the shot that I think of on the way home, or the part of the shot, or whatever I'm thinking of. Nobody's ever going to see those in split screen and go, oh, he really should have done that. They're only going to see the thing that was done, and as long as that's good enough, I mean, as long as that does the job and whatever, that's what that is.
Of course. And there's an equivalent when we do our self-tape auditions, which is...
It's got to be horrible, right?
It is for all sorts of reasons.
Yeah.
But this one particular, you do David Fincher style 65 takes of yourself in your spare room, starting to sweat and look increasingly weird and hungry and furious. And then you look back and you go, well, it's the third take, obviously, because then there's 25 takes which are identical, apart from, I'm twitching my eyebrow in one little bit, that no one's going to watch that and be like, I was going to give him the part.
But then I saw that.
But then I saw that weird thing he did with his eyebrow once, so I'm going to give it to Eddie Redmayne. no one.
But it's a cycle, right?
Then you get into your own head. Oh, of course.
So when you self-tape, do you have someone who's critiquing you, watching it back?
That's another reason to sometimes hate it. I think the best people to do it with are friends who you have a really good shorthand with.
Yeah.
Who share artistic taste with you.
But also they can keep you from yourself, I think,
Keep you
right?
from yourself.
Yeah.
I think unless you're incredibly lucky, it's not always the best idea to do it with a partner. As in
yes.
Someone you live with.
I would think that would be very smart.
Because they know you too well.
Yep.
They know your tricks.
Mm-hmm. And they also have their own little pet things that bother you about them.
Yeah, absolutely. And they also know how to. You're quite vulnerable when you're doing these things.
Mm-hmm.
And the littlest thing they say can get, like your partner can go.
Because they're your partner, you're saying. Yeah.
They can go, I think maybe, a little bit warmer at the beginning. And you'd be like, right, so you're saying I'm rude, and you're saying I'm cold, and you're saying I'm terrible, and this scene is terrible, and I'm a bad actor, you're a bad reader, I hate you, you're ruining it actually, because you're shouting over me. And then you just, I'm not doing it now. And you just become a little child. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. That's very good to know. How dare you say that to me?
Yeah. How dare you see me and know me?
Yes, exactly.
Put that on my tombstone.
So do you remember when you made the transition to film, TV, whatever it was?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't make the transition. For a long time, I didn't see them as... Well, I still go back and forth.
Yeah.
Not as much. Haven't done as much stage in recent years.
Do you have to adjust when you go back and forth? Is it a different muscle?
Yeah, I think they are... They're like different genres.
Yeah.
They're obviously the same... thing you're tapping into in yourself, and the ultimate goal is to connect for an audience, but they feel the process is so different, as you know, like for so many reasons that yes, you do have to adjust, but it's not like, here we go, I've got to do something different now. It's just you go, this feels like I'm doing a slightly different job. I mean, so going into a rehearsal room for 6 weeks is so different to going on set on your first day and here we go.
Yeah.
I love both, but no, it took a few years for me to start doing screeny stuff, and inevitably for me, one of the first ones I did was a film of Shakespeare. Of course.
So that was an easy transition?
I still shouted a bit. But it had it had amazing actors in it. It had Rory Kinnear in it again. It had Ben Whishaw, had Lindsay Duncan, it had David Suchet, it had David Morrissey, it had Patrick Stewart. It was amazing. It was Richard II.
Yeah.
It was a BBC film. And so I was sort of I was learning obviously on that, but still feeling a bit thespy. But the biggest chance I had to learn about screen acting was one of the great privileges that most people don't get, which is repetition. I was in a TV show called Victoria for 3 years, 3 seasons.
English TV show.
Yeah. It was about Queen Victoria. Mm-hmm. And
she's the one who built the subway station, right?
Yeah, it was. Okay. Yeah. She built all the Victoria Line extension, and she built the Millennium Dome as well. I think,
especially with all the other things she had to do, it's really impressive.
So busy. All the museums she was setting up in her husband's name before he died. It was. We had 3 seasons, and however many episodes. I don't know how many episodes I did. 20 something. You know, and you don't. There's some things you just learn by doing it over and over again, right? And a lot of that is about relaxation, and get the tension and the fear of feeling like an imposter. Mm-hmm. Even though by that point I'd been out of drama school for about 5-6 years, and I'd had a good CV, and I was seen as someone who had a decent career, I was still there going, I'm not entirely sure that I'm right, that I'm good at this.
Why I'm here?
Yeah. And that was where I really learnt the joy of working with the crew. Right, that's where James Friend was our DP on the first couple of episodes, and that was when I discovered how great it can feel to work with the camera operator who will be...
That part will be cut out, by the way.
Yeah.
That's the only thing
with
that'll be in this
a
episode.
camera operator.
Yeah.
Because they are another director who is, in that moment, kind of like your mentor. Like, you're there watching me,
Yeah.
going... And if you've got a good relationship, you can go, there's a little thing you can do that can make this better, or that can help you.
That the camera operator can mention to you, you're saying.
Yeah, and you're getting a bonus director that's just for you. And this isn't easy and obvious thing to say, but like, I really believe that on a film or a TV set, it's really important for an actor to remember that literally everyone is there to make you look good.
Yeah. Nobody's trying to make you fail.
Yeah, no one wants you to muck up, because it makes them look bad, obviously. But also, the nature of it is there is a camera with your massive face filling the frame, and they're entirely there to make you look good. Mm-hmm. So, firstly, don't be a dick about it.
Yeah, yeah.
And secondly, use it. Like that I am, as a person, quite prone to wanting to not be a squeaky wheel, not be a problem. Mm-hmm. I just want to get in, not mess up, maybe not necessarily be noticed. You know what I mean? Like, make the fewest mistakes, do my little bit, get the paperwork in on time, leave. And that's to my detriment. Like, I remember at drama school, the director saying to me, you didn't achieve as much in this part as you could have done. Mm-hmm. You were good, you were fine, like, you didn't do anything wrong, but you didn't get there. And it was the director saying it to me, and I was like, but why are you saying this to me now? He was like, because you weren't a squeaky wheel. You just got it. And he said, I didn't really notice until the end.
Until the end, when I evaluated.
When I was like, he didn't come to me and say, how can I be better? How can I challenge? Because I was just there going like, I can do this. I can make this work.
Yeah.
And so I think, you don't want to be a problem actor. I don't want to be the opposite, but you don't want to be anonymous.
Yeah.
And being on Victoria for those years and seeing the same faces every day, and you learn to build up a relationship, which if you're lucky enough to keep working, you can get a shorthand into, can't you? Mm-hmm. And also the luck of being able to watch yourself back and go, right, I'm doing this character. Does it work? Do I need to... Yeah, that was when I learned that working with really great crew actually makes you a better actor.
Yeah.
They're not just there dancing around going, we'll get everything ready and then hope for the best.
Yeah.
It's an active collaboration, which is so obvious to say. But when you're a baby actor, it's easy to not notice. And
no, but I think everybody has their little circle of influence and whatever, and that's what they stay in, sort of. And they
but I think you're missing out if you don't.
I totally.
If you don't cross.
Well, I'll tell you the flip side of that is my thing is always, look, I'm the first audience.
Yeah.
Granted, a nanosecond later, someone else is the audience because they're watching on video, but I'm 4 feet away from you or whatever. And there are things that I'll see, and you've experienced this, but where I'll go, hey, I don't know if this helps or blah, blah, blah. But it's always kind of freaky to us because, number one, until I understand what an actor is okay with, I don't want to get in their head with something, and I don't want to give them. They're going totally a different direction, and the idea that I happen to notice that I'm just honestly giving you honest feedback is going to,
Yeah, I wouldn't do it like that.
Tumult them out of the way, but it is like you don't want to, you don't want to be you want to be an asset, not a problem, and so there's always that question of it takes a while to go. Should I mention this or should I mention this?
Are you evaluating that from quite early on in a relationship with an actor?
The second I meet someone.
Really? What you're going like? How
were you in? Were you in? I don't remember. No, you weren't in the wardrobe test that we did before we shot, were you?
No, I was airdropped in from England.
That's right. Yeah. Because there was only a handful of people, but I kind of forget. But I probably did it early on with you. I can't remember because that was kind of an odd show. But what I do with actors all the time, and I've said this ad nauseum on this podcast before, but as soon as I meet them, I try to go up and say hello. I try to go, and this is the first assistant, and this is the dolly group. Hopefully I did that with you. And then I usually will ask them, what do you like to be called and what frame sizes do you like? Did I ask you that?
No, you didn't. No, you came up and told me what bar to go to listen to
That's right.
country music, which I appreciated even more.
That was the other one.
Yes.
No, I didn't do that with you. Interesting. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm getting bad.
But we were
in my
up
old
and
age.
running. But you are doing that. So you're working out like what kind of dynamic are we?
But
gonna
here's
have,
the
right?
thing. But the reason that I do that is twofold. One is that information helps me because it honestly makes me go, these are things that I want to know if you want to know, and if you don't want to know, I don't want to tell you.
Yeah.
But and also, truthfully, it's like if you're method and you only want to be called, Mr. McGarnacle or whatever. That's what I call you,
Mr. McGarnacle,
whatever. But then the other thing is though, just from that reaction and how they answer it, I can get a feed for you want me in your life, or you're like, I don't care. And I'm like, okay, I
love that conversation. But you've got to work. There's got to be a trust between you.
But aren't you doing that too? The second you get on set, is you're sort of, even if not as consciously, you're mentally evaluating who can I trust, who can I go to, who can I.
That's what I'm talking about. Having learned that, having had the privilege of doing the job for a while and learned that.
Absolutely.
But I remember a moment with us on what we just shot, which I'm not trying to hide the name of. I just feel like it might not end up being called Da Vinci.
It's about Da Vinci, but we don't know what it
might end up having a different name.
Yeah. The painter guy.
He loved Atlanta, didn't he? He loved holidaying in Atlanta. But I remember you coming up to me and saying, you said, "What are you thinking in this moment?"
Oh, I do remember this.
But it stuck with me for a couple of reasons. But one of them being that my instant.
I just want to be clear. I'm going to interrupt. This was not the first moment that I had met
No.
you.
It was part of the process.
I had ascertained that you were cool and we were on the same plane.
But what's interesting is that my first instinct, it was actually almost a bit defensive. I was like, all right, I'm going to just... Well, no, not because of anything you did. Because I was like, I have to justify my performance here. I'm going to have to... it's like when an actor is given a note and they go, I was actually already doing that. You feel a bit defensive and you want to go, what I'm trying to do is this. But then you went, no, I just want to work out where to put the camera based on what thought your
because I was trying to figure out. He was basically like whitewashing over what he had painted.
Yeah, and I
was trying to figure out, are you happy that he's doing this, or are you upset watching someone doing this? And I was trying to figure out how high I put the camera in, or how low, depending on what it was.
And
which was it was interesting.
It was I love that moment. For the creative reason of going like, this is a collaboration video, but also revealing to me of going like, oh, I actually felt like I needed to say, well, Dave, I'm sorry I'm such a terrible actor, but what I'm trying to show is this.
I feel so badly.
No, you mustn't. You absolutely no. You mustn't. You mustn't feel bad about it because it's a brilliant. It's actually those moments which make us grow as people.
Well, but the thing that I will say is. There are other actors that we worked with there who I had good relationships with, but I never would have asked that.
Fine.
Because that would have gotten into their performance in this, and I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I only did that with you because we had so many conversations about even acting, and had such an open relationship that I was like, oh, I can totally ask this guy this to then. And by the way, that's an opportunity where it's like I can figure out. Oh, and what I ended up doing, and you said like, no, I'm mostly just horrified that an artist would destroy his work. And I said, oh, then I want to be low on you and show this, and it works. It works so well.
I love it.
And had I gone high, it would have had the wrong feeling.
Well, had you gone high, you would have got a certain shot, and I would have watched it back and gone, oh, I didn't do that right.
Well, the irony is, I think if I had gone high and looked down on you as you were doing that, I think I probably, in my mind, would have seen what you were doing and slowly let it sink down, which would have had a whole different storytelling thing. But
very clever.
I think because of what you ended up doing, I would have instantly gone like, oh no, this isn't
a really twitchy shot,
and then turned it into something else. And everybody's like, I love that move there. It's like, oh yeah, I designed that.
I absolutely love that. I worked with. Just clunk this on the floor. Did a David Fincher film called Mank.
David Fincher, the filmmaker.
Yeah,
not the car racer. I don't know. Making it up. No, because you were clunking it on the floor. Yes, David Fincher, the filmmaker.
Yeah. So I was pinch. The whole experience.
You're talking about Mank.
Yeah, Mank.
Okay,
yeah. And that was the whole thing was a pinch me thing for me on so many levels. Firstly, that like I had very friendlily, but had professionally parted ways with my English agent. So I didn't have an agent in England at the time.
Oh.
I had an incredible American agent who...
But this was shot here, right?
Mank was shot in LA.
No, I mean, I'm sorry. Here being... here is America.
Oh, yes, of course it is. Yeah.
Please. Oh, it was shot in LA, too. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
okay.
It was shot in... is it Central Studio? The one that's near downtown, just north of downtown?
The
Center
Stage Studios.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I had... Yeah, so I was sort of mourning there was not an acrimonious parting of ways, but it was in the way that you mourn a relationship. You know, you hope it's going to be once and forever, and then when you realise that people change and aren't necessarily the same person or actor that they were, and no one's fallen out, but you go, maybe actually we need a refresh. You know, so you're feeling like there's a sense of failure because you go, I didn't make that relationship last forever.
Yeah.
So I was agentless over here. I'd been meeting potential new ones, and not having great confidence at that time in England, but weirdly at the same time I was having these incredible auditions in America. My agent, who's now bastard retired, but still in amazing hands.
Dare they?
Yeah, Stephen Hirsch at Gersh. He's one of the best people I've ever met in my life.
Oh, that's great.
Who had just made me really feel like I might have something to offer as an artist. I mean, other people make you feel like that, but like every day he would make me feel like, no, I'm not trying to make you a star. I'm trying to make you into the best artist you can be.
That's cool.
And I had, sorry, this is a really long preamble to actually getting into talking about something to do with the making of films. But
that's right. We're talking about Mank. Yeah.
This is the context
I understand.
of why the whole thing was
setting the
pinched
table.
Me. And I was at a music festival in England, and I'd done a tape for fire off into the ether for this Fincher film called Mank, and I was like, well, fine, great.
I can say I made a tape.
I did a tape for David Fincher. He possibly he or Lorraine Mayfield.
I don't know if this means anything to you, but David Fincher may have seen me on tape once.
Yeah. So I'm in a field at a music festival doing what people do in fields at music festival. That sounds way worse than it was, but you know what I mean.
We'll cut that out.
I was just
enjoying yourself,
loose and happy in a field, and can only get phone reception back at the tents. And I get this thing from Steve and my agent being like, Fincher sending you 16 pages. Can you? I can't remember whether it was retape. Can you do the rest of the part?
He
tomorrow?
wants more.
Yeah. Fincher liking the look of this or something. And I was laughed at that and sort of said to the person in the tent next to me, who was Ophelia Loverbond, who's an amazing actress. I was like, David Fincher saw my tape and he liked it, so I might have to leave the festival a bit early. And she was like, okay, babe, good luck. I was like, okay, bye. And then I was like, I actually do have to leave early. And I went back and I did another tape, and I was having a really good time doing tapes for America at that time because they felt like such a free hit. Felt like I'm not going to get any of these. I don't even have.
I'm just going to go for it because who cares?
My friend Leo and I used to make them as little short films.
Yeah,
we'd add little chyrons at the bottom. We'd do bits to camera for comedies. Yeah. We'd do different location stuff. We'd do stupid. And they were all crap, but it was a laugh, and actually it took the pressure off. And then I was asked to download this unknown app called Zoom. and meet David Fincher on it.
Oh, wow.
And sort of sweated my way through that. Of course, I unplugged my webcam, of course, and knocked it over he just carried on talking. I was like, oh, you've disappeared. Oh, you're back. And then said something about hopefully we'll get you out here soon. And then I logged off and lay on the floor and developed a headache and was
oh my gosh.
And then got a text in the night from my agent being like, yeah, he wants you.
So let me ask you a question. When you're laying on the floor and getting the headache, are you dissecting what hopefully we'll see you out here soon as
oh, no, I'm just going, I have just had my shoulders around. The reason I've got a headache is I've been so tense and so unrelaxed. And I've just kicked over a computer. Yeah. I just thought, how has this happened? Anyway, that's the preamble to me doing Mank. So I was already out there going, I don't know how having thought that I was going to have to not quite restart my career, but have to really find a new way of reestablishing myself.
That you've landed this big movie.
And I'm but I'm not the main part in it.
No,
I'm not Mank in it, but I had a really nice part in it, and it was with one of my favourite directors in the universe and some of my favourite actors.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is what we're eventually getting back to about the little adjustments.
Mm-hmm.
Is that he would, as you may have heard, he's a perfectionist.
I have heard
Yeah,
that.
you might have.
Yeah.
And I was picking shit. I was so happy.
Really?
Oh man, I love working hard. Is so fun.
Mm-hmm.
And on the first day we had rehearsals as well. We had table work for like 3 weeks, which was it was amazing. And first day he just walked into his office and went, "Hey Ferdinand, you ready to work?" And I didn't know whether he's just having a laugh or
Yeah.
no, he's like, are you ready to work? He said it with a smile.
Yeah.
But I was like, fuck yeah, I am. I'm in.
Yeah.
And I was also wild with jet lag, so I was like, yes,
Yeah.
yes, my darling, love, dad, mum, sorry. But he would come up and just give you little tiny adjustments, and it would be like put your weight more onto your left butt cheek here, and it will make this shot right.
Really?
Or, oh yeah,
Like that.
He's got such a close relate. I mean,
Can you recognize that? Like, oh no, this is actually.
well, because you're doing so many takes, you go through this sort of. I think of it like an inverted bell curve, like a U curve of. Like at the beginning, you think I've got a handle on this, and you can take the notes, and there's a lot of notes per take. There's like 3 or 4, and they come rapid fire, and then you go through a bit where you go, I have no idea. I'm overloaded. I think I'm just playing notes,
and then
and I'm not sure. And then you come up the other side, and you're like, oh, it's coming into finding the form here. And then at the end, he always goes, let's do 2 more, fast and simple.
I've heard this before. Yeah,
just do 2 more fast and simple. Forget all my notes. Then he just the greatest compliment working with him is when he just goes, got it, moving on. Just like no fanfare, got it, moving on.
Do you think that bell curve that you're talking about is part of the process of why he does this, or do you think he does this because he's a perfectionist?
I think it might be because then he gives you the ones at the end where he says fast and simple.
Just get it out there. Yeah.
So it's like I've given you everything.
Yeah.
I trust that the important bits have sunk in, and also he's him. He casts. Because he thinks there's something intrinsic about you. You might not be the greatest actor in the world. I'm not pretending I am the only actor in the world who's good enough to play that part.
But he's seen something.
But I was the one who, for whatever reason, there was something energetically about me, or about my personality, or maybe it was about how I spoke to him on the Zoom, that he just went, that suits that character.
That suits that character, yeah.
And I remember him saying that about, I think it was maybe about Rosamund Pike in Gone Girl in an interview where he was like, it wasn't her acting skills, she was clearly good enough.
Yeah.
It was something she said to me when I spoke to her that made me think that she's got a direct line to that character. But anyway, he'd come and I have a tendency to lean my head to one side.
Okay.
I think it's a sort of an appeasing thing. I'm not a threat. It's a listening thing.
Oh, interesting.
It's not a conscious thing, but it was pointed out to me that I often loll my head to one side to sort of, I don't know, just to be unthreatening.
Yeah.
But he was like, you got to be symmetrical. This character is symmetrical.
Yeah.
This character has symmetrical energy. He is
I love this.
Unflappable. And you also need to drop your chin by like 2 degrees.
Wow.
So that he's like he was like, right, he gave me the note and I was trying to take it. He was like, okay, you're kind of getting it. Come to the monitor.
Let me
show you playback.
Playback.
He said, is it going to freak you out for me to show you playback?
Okay, beautiful. That's good.
And I was like, no. Like, I'm an idiot. I don't know anything. Help me.
And then it's see your chin here, see your chin
He was
there.
like, look at this. Now look at that. He was like, look how much higher your status is.
Right?
Obviously, because that film was black and white and it was shot so starkly.
Yep.
And it was a black and white sensor in the camera as well that they'd had. So it wasn't like we were watching it in... And it... the really strong shadows.
That's
and he was
amazing.
It was so... There's 2 ways to take it. One is like, oh, I'm being micromanaged, or it's empowering, and you go, we're not gonna finish this scene until he's got what he wants.
But I think that,
and that's great because we'd still be there shooting it.
Yeah.
And as a result, weirdly watching it back, we watch stuff back, and most of the time, if you don't actively hate yourself, I think that means it's quite a good sign. When I watched Mank back, even though it's like probably the highest stakes job of my career at that point, I was the least anxious about what I was going to be like when I watched it, because I was like, he's amazing, his whole crew are amazing,
because
Eric's an amazing cinematographer. And we worked so hard and for so long on it that we would still be there if he hadn't got wrong.
Well, so what I was thinking when you were saying that, there's probably never that scene where you don't have much time. And you're like 3 takes. You're like, yeah, we got it. Let's move on. And it's like that. You're going out of it and going, did I get that? Didn't I get that? Whereas if you do 60 takes or something, and he finally says, we got it, you're like, oh, clearly we got it.
And look, it's not always 60, and that's the that's the joke about Finch.
Of course.
Sometimes it is.
Yeah, if it needs to be.
But it.
Well, but he'll go that long. So if he gets it in 5, you got it.
And he's I think it was me that asked him, or it might have been Tuppence or someone, when we rehearsed him, was like, have you ever? He warned us. He was like, we're going to do a lot of takes. Yeah. And he did say, I'm looking for moments. I don't need the whole scenes in. But then, of course, he would, he would work you to get the whole. Yeah. Me or someone else was like, have you ever had someone just have? Do some people hate this?
A breakdown.
Yeah. Well, not even a breakdown, but to just some people resist this.
Yeah.
And he was like, rarely, because of the people I like to work with.
They also know what they're getting into at this point.
Yeah. But he said an actor's name, which I'll say when we're not on mic. He was like, he had a horrible time. He had a horrible experience. And I was like, why? And he said, because he didn't want to work hard. He just didn't, he thought it should be,
I'm giving you what I'm giving you. You're going to be happy with that. Let's move on.
Yes.
Yeah.
He should be able to just do it and then go back to his trailer and be. You spend 0 time in your trailer on a Fincher set.
That's amazing.
You're working nonstop, and so you're tired. But it's a different kind of. Waiting is tiring.
Yeah.
Doing isn't tiring.
No, but you probably feel accomplished after it. You feel like you've done something.
The sensation of being tired after a hard day's work is hard to beat, isn't it?
No, it's absolutely.
And Lord knows what it's like to be someone like Gary Oldman or Amanda Seyfried on that film who were doing.
Sure.
And I think they loved it. Gary's so incredibly normal about it. And come over and be like, "Got a lot of notes, right? Got a lot of notes. It's hard to hold it in my head." I was like, if you're saying it's a lot,
I feel much better
then it's
right
okay.
now.
Yeah, if someone as basically perfect an actor as you is going, "What? It's a lot of notes, isn't it?"
He's the only actor I think. I have no idea who Gary Oldman actually is.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because he's such a chameleon.
He is.
Like most actors, I'm like, some actors, I'm like, I absolutely know who they are in real life. Some actors, I'm like, I've seen that person in real life. Like Gary Oldman, I have no idea who he would be.
Kind is the answer.
Oh,
and silly.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah. He takes the piss out of himself non-stop.
Actually, because of what is it? What's the TV show here?
Slow Horses.
Slow Horses. I sort of feel like I understand.
I mean, listen, this is the Gary that I met in 2019-20. Look, and I'm sure he's. What I mean is, I had that tiny slice.
But
of
that's
him.
who he is.
Yeah. That's my experience
great.
of him. Who knows whether that's like a journey that's got. Yeah. He said to me, he was like, "I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life." And
amazing.
And that's probably.
And yet he can also be the cop and professional. I
think he's just heaven, man.
No, that's
he's
amazing.
A heavenly actor.
It must be amazing to watch someone like that.
Yeah. Oh, it's brilliant. And watch them struggle with it and take notes and then turn it into something incredible.
Yeah.
And unvain.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you this, and I don't mind sharing this because it's in her podcast. Olivia Williams, who's an amazing actress, who talks like you, she got like the big thing that put her on the map was The Postman. With Kevin Costner, and as she said, she thought she's pretty sure that they went through all of the actresses and all of the what did she say? All of the print bra models, and they finally got there.
God,
but she had to self-tape, and she was.
Even then.
Oh yeah, and she was very upset that she had to pay the cab fare and get a new outfit, or I don't remember what she says it much better than I. But she did the self-tape, which she thought was ridiculous because she's like, I'm never going to get this. And I think at the end, the woman, behind the camera said, okay, that's great. And she kind of went to hand the sides back and laughed and went, yeah, or something like that. And Kevin Costner said to her.
Oh, and it was on the tape.
This is on the tape. And Kevin Costner said to her, I hired you because of the laugh that you gave at the end. Because it was like this, I could see who you were, and you were this ballsy prairie woman who I needed here, and you obviously had the chops as well, and that's what got her the job.
That's so good, because she so has the chops. I mean,
no, she's so fantastic, but nobody knew her and whatever, and people grow, but he said very specifically, he was like, nope, it was the laugh at the end, which had nothing.
There's a person behind the which I then told her is actually
why, and I don't know if you know this or not, or if you caught this or not. John Larson, amazing first AC, who was with us on Da Vinci, but he already knew this. But I do this with all the ACs: is when the director calls cut, we never cut, and I never change the camera until the actor breaks or someone comes in.
So you got a lot of shots of me picking my nose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, because because
get
sometimes
the moment after?
Because sometimes it's like they finish the scene and the director call cut, and the actors in the scene will just they'll relax or they'll sigh or they'll do, but whatever it is real.
Yeah.
And sometimes there are moments, and I've 99% of the time it's nothing, right? But the 1% of the time where you capture something that's just the period on the end of that scene or whatever,
and the editor just goes, "Oh yeah."
And I've only had this once, I think, or maybe twice, but it might have been with the same director. Someone came in and was like, "Were you still rolling?" Yeah. You caught that?
You got it?
Because it was something where something had happened and it was the end of the night or whatever, and the actor who was still left in the scene just sort of put his hands on the table and put his head down because he was just like, oh God, thank God we're done. And it was just this great sort of like moment of,
great.
So anyway, you never know.
But, Lucio, the director, he would leave. He had a habit of leaving quite a long stretch before cut, didn't he?
He did, which I enjoyed,
which
actually,
is fun,
because a lot of people were like, just like, no, it's
he just allowed something to happen. Sometimes it felt like a bit too long, but he's giving the opportunity for an accident.
You never know what's going to happen.
And sometimes I love the little technicals that can happen in those moments too. Yep. Have you seen? I found myself when I was watching Sentimental Value. Have you seen Sentimental Value?
I haven't, but I've heard I have to see it.
I mean, I love it. I mean, Worst Person in the World is one of my favourite films of the last few years.
Yeah.
Joachim Trier is a genius director. I think Renata Reinsve, whose name I mispronounce without fail, is like an absolutely sensational actor. I found myself watching that film this week, going on my birthday, by the way.
Happy birthday!
Thank you.
Did you get my present? No, it's an international mail thing.
Your presence is my present. There's a shot where. There's a couple of amazing ones. But there's one where someone's pushing a shopping trolley, and right at the end of the shot, the wheel catches, and it's clearly an accident, and just one of the wheels catches and the trolley, and he cuts just as it happens, and just out loud I went, "I love shots like that," because because it's so perfectly, such a perfect shot, and then something's just a bit off,
and the cut ends.
It's so great. Delicious.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. That's great that you noticed that stuff. That's when you say she's an amazing actress. Why do you say that about someone?
I mean, I've only seen her in those two films.
But anyone, what is it that you're looking for? I mean, her specifically, or Gary Oldman,
she's like, her face is so open. She's got such a. I think this is the filmmaking element as well as the actor.
Yeah. And
the reason that she's in these films is that she allows us to project onto her. And she acts unjudgmental. She plays people who are, in various levels of extremists, who might make bad decisions and stuff, and she has an openness and an honesty to her performance that you just go to her. And it's not a look at me kind of acting. It's not a look what I can conjure up kind of acting. I don't know what it is that actors like that can do, but it's something to do with warmth, and it's something to do with love and generosity that makes me, even if you're playing the worst, I say the worst person in the world, sorry, literally a baddie.
Yeah.
I find it so attractive to watch, and in that film, it's incredible. She has that, and Stellan Skarsgård has this face which can just do everything without doing anything. His face is just incredible, and you've got these two, and they're playing father and daughter. And these two, hers is just like a sort of moon, not because it's moon shaped, but because it's kind of got this soft glow about it. Everything's onto it, and he's got this angular. The camera could sit on him and it may as well be a freeze frame, and you'd watch 50 emotions go through.
Yeah, without anything changing.
Yeah, it's heaven watching something like that.
That's amazing.
What do I think? Your question was like, what do I think makes a great actor?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what makes a good, but when you see that, is there a quality, or is it person to person, or is it project to project?
Person, project to project. I mean, it's about a lot of it. So much is about the relationship. It's about how they've been perceived and been seen by the people making the film as well. You know, they've been able to see a truth.
Yep.
Ultimately, I think. I don't think you can. Maybe this will be really wanky, but I am quite wanky. I don't think you can be a good actor. I don't think you can be a great actor without being generous.
What does that mean?
What does that mean? I think it means you're looking for connection. You're not acting on your own. You're not acting in the privacy of your own sheets to go, look how clever I am to myself or to someone. You're giving to either to the other actor, or you're remembering that you're ultimately doing it for a viewer, for an audience member, be that in a theatre or in a cinema, or you're doing it for them.
Give that performance for them,
for whatever they need, whether that is to connect to some incredibly profound, painful thought that is hard to access otherwise. Whether it's to confront some enormous political spectre, or whether it's to give someone a really enjoyable hour on a Sunday evening with a glass of wine, watching something which has nice lighting and nice costumes and a nice love story. It's uncynical, and I think that's you. I don't think you can be. I think you can be an incredibly impressive actor, incredibly good, incredibly showy actor, without being generous, but I don't think you can be great without being
That's interesting.
generous.
But I mean, it's funny because I hear you say that. That's what art is, right?
Right.
Is art is just art, and what you take from it is what it's going to be. That's based on your experience of it, but it's still
you're giving it out, and then I mean that's another fundamental difference between screen and stage, isn't it? Is a theatre experience is live and in the moment. It's the transaction happens there and then. I give it to you, you receive it, and at the end we go, I saw you, you saw me.
That was the moment.
That's the bow, you know.
And also you're in control of that, right?
To an extent, yeah. When we do stuff on screen, you hand it over.
You relinquish
and
it.
it's not yours anymore.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of beautiful and amazing.
And there's a trust in that.
Yeah. But do you think of the absolute, I mean, he's in my head a lot at the moment because of that clip that's been doing the rounds. But Ian McKellen, who I think is a truly great actor.
What clip has been going around?
The clip of him doing a speech from Shakespeare, doing Thomas More about. It's basically a speech about immigrants.
Okay. Oh, so natural.
And
I'll have to look for that.
Oh, I cannot tell you how many times it's been shared by my fellow actors. Just going like, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
That's how you be a great. Not just because he's the best at it, but because he is, however old he is, 86, 87?
Something, yeah.
He's still using that craft and that intellect, sharp as a tack, to engage, right? And to connect to people. And he does it he's doing it on a chat show. I think it's on Colbert.
Okay.
And he says, for me to do this speech, I need someone to shout from the audience at me. They need to shout something like, bid the strangers be gone, or something like, you know, I need someone to shout, get rid of the foreigners, a version of that. And so someone does, and he's just up, and he's just engaging with them.
Isn't that interesting, though, that he can't do it without that?
I mean, he can, but what he's doing is he's creating a relationship. He's creating a spell, and he's also, in the best artistic way, he's manipulating the audience. He's going like, you're part of this. Yeah. You're not just sitting there going, hee, 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 hee. It's Ian McKellen, clap, clap, clap. You're going like, no, I'm talking to you, and you're not going to go, look at how good I am at speaking this verse. You need to listen to this because it's important. And I think that he has, I mean, I don't know, that's probably just in his soul that he does that, but he's spent his entire life and career surrounded by activists and being part of, you know, a really engaged community of social activists and of creatives. And I was reading, so I was talking to my mum last night about the actor. Did you know the actor Ian Charleson?
No.
He was a beautiful actor. He died in Well, he had AIDS. He died in 1990, possibly, around then, maybe a bit earlier. He died with that, and he was a beautiful... Like, there's the Ian Charleston Award over here for actors under 30 in a classical role, and every year it's like there's about 10 who get put on the shortlist.
Mm-hmm.
I was on the shortlist once.
Oh.
Not multiple times, but like, people like Jessie Buckley have won it, who's now going to win everything. And he won... I was reading something about Ian Charleston last night, and it was about how Ian McKellen had won Best Actor at the London Theatre Awards, the Evening Standard Theatre Awards or something that year. And McKellen went up to collect the award, and he said, "Thank you, I really, really appreciate this. It's very generous of you. I really value that you've given it to me. However, last night I saw Ian Charleston play, I think it was Hamlet, actually. He said, I saw, and I believe he gave the perfect performance."
Wow.
And so, with all, humility and love, I'm going to give this award to him. That is the best actor. I'm not the best actor.
That's amazing.
I was like, mate, that's how to do it. Because it doesn't cost you... Yes, it costs you an award, but, you're still going to be...
No, absolutely.
That's how to do it. I love that.
Well, but it's also because it's about the craft, right?
Craft.
This is a complete sidestep, but it'll come back in a second. My dad is 90, and he was a pediatric cardiologist, or he is still a pediatric cardiologist, I guess. Mm-hmm. And he did this thing when I was last there that I sat in on, where he's in a retirement home, and they met with... freshmen from the college around the corner as a let me talk to someone about a long life and let me learn about you. And it was this interesting thing. And he was talking about his teaching and how he used to, write papers and deliver papers on new techniques for this and that and the other and whatever. And he said something about, sometimes they would be lauded and sometimes people would come up and go, that's wrong. And this is the way. And the kid said, it must be frustrating to put all that work in, and then
wouldn't it be wrong?
And then it's wrong.
Yeah.
And my dad said, "No, that's actually what you want." And he said, "What do you mean?" And he said, "If I say that this is the best way to do something, obviously I believe that that's it. But then it may or may not be. But if I say that and someone goes, no, there's a better way, and they come in and they prove me wrong, then we've made progress, and I've been part of it." And I remember thinking, that's such a brilliant... And it made me think of this. It's like, yes, I'm not saying I haven't done great work, but this is better, and it raises all of us up.
Well, raising all of us is the key,
that's
isn't
what
it?
the key is like, now the bar is higher, and I need to move to that.
Yeah, and there's a real temptation to... Oh, look, we got to admit the ugly parts of ourselves that can be competitive, right?
Of course.
That wants to be the best, or to get the most plaudits, or to be the most praised, or whatever. But when you have enough, whether it's confidence or grace or humility or trust, to be able to sort of surpass that and go, but praising another actor doesn't mean I'm less of a good actor.
That's exactly right. Yep.
Praising another...
It's security, too.
Praising another creative person doesn't give them a job over me.
Yeah.
If I say... I think Andrew Scott is a great actor, he's going to get that part, not because I've said it, and it's not going to make me less employable.
Yeah.
Not that Andrew's my competition, but...
No, absolutely. No. But the thing is, you can't get to that point until you've developed a certain appreciation of the fact that, yes, I do know what I'm doing, and I am good at what I do. I'm not the best, and I don't always nail it, but there's you have to have a certain comfort zone to be able to do that. Because if you have that, I have to always be the best attitude, you're never gonna. Yeah,
I'm saying that with my head tilted to one side again, but because I'm thinking about do you have to have a confidence in yourself? Maybe you do. And
I don't think you can say this belongs to someone else if you don't have confidence.
Oh, that's
in yourself.
A good point.
That's what I'm saying.
That's a good point. I'm thinking the other side of the coin being that maybe it's the antidote to. I don't think. Okay, if we're saying that praising someone doesn't lower you, on the flip side, or the same coin, I'm mixing my metaphors, criticising people is never going to make you better.
That's exactly right.
So even if you're not massively confident and you don't think I'm the greatest actor in my world, I'm not going to become any better or more renowned or more successful or more famous by saying, you know who I think's shit?
Yeah.
That guy who's doing well.
That's exactly right.
I saw a clip of an actor who's a mate of mine called Poppy Gilbert. But I saw her being interviewed on something the other day, and she talked about not getting a job, which is 98% of our life. And someone was asking her, like, what the sensation of that, and she talked about this play that she'd auditioned for. She had something like 5 or 6 rounds. She didn't say what it was, but it was something she desperately wanted in the West End. I think it was coming from New York. She desperately wanted it, and she got the call to say she hadn't got it, and she told her friend, and they were like, "We're going to go for a drink." Her friend. They went for a drink, and she was feeling sad, and her friend said, "Right. Firstly, we toast you for this experience. You've done all this." He said, "And now, whether you like it or not, we're going to toast the actress who got that part." And we should all do that, but it's like it's
wonderful.
hard to do, isn't it?
No, it is.
It shouldn't be, but it takes a degree of stepping outside of yourself and going,
yeah,
that's going to make someone's year. And for every part I've got, there will be, I sit around going like, I would have a completely different career. We've all got parallel careers where if that one job that we nearly got or couldn't do or wanted to get, the guy got it and then he was flying.
And the funny thing that I always think about that is I could have gotten that job and something else might have not have happened and I wouldn't have. It wouldn't have taken that
and I wouldn't
journey.
have had
You
this
have no
life.
idea.
You have no idea,
career,
no
not
control
mine.
of it.
Yep.
Absolutely. And by the same token, for every job I've got, there are 3 or 4 actors who are there going,
I can't
oh man,
believe
I
you got
so
that job."
nearly got that. I would have been amazing.
Yep.
And they're having to sit there watching me going like, oh.
It's the exact same thing. No, look, there are times where I'll be like, why the hell didn't I get that job? And this person had got that job, but I was never even in that. I'm not even in that sphere. I don't know those people. And it's like, why would they have called me? They don't know me. They called him because they know him.
And you don't get to become, in our lines of work, you don't get to become CEO of acting, of camera operating. You don't
exactly right.
There's no ultimate promotion, is there?
No.
You get to hopefully end up doing the work that's
and you
fulfilling.
Just never know. But do you, when you're acting on camera, I think maybe it's on stage as well, but are you mentally in the back of yourself sort of watching what you're doing and aware of it? Or are you in the
I wish I
moment?
wasn't.
Yeah, do you try not to be?
I try not to be.
Yeah.
Well, the ultimate balance I'm aiming for is a healthy monitor that's going like, am I doing what is serving it? I'm not out of control. I'm not I never want to be possessed by the character.
As opposed to picking it apart and going, why did you do that?
Yeah,
Why did you
it's
do
what
that?
we, I think Stanislavski calls it the internal critic. And a really good acting teacher I had called Martin Conn, he used to call it the little fucker.
I like that better.
Yeah, he did the, but for the listeners out there, I'm doing a hand-speaking mime.
Yeah.
And it's the little fucker that watches you.
Why are you doing that?
Why are you doing that?
Can't
That
believe
wasn't
you just
right.
did
That sounded stupid. And you're not in the moment. You're not listening. You're not. It's the little
And that
fucker.
can get out of control, right?
And you can't scream at the little fucker to get away.
Because it gets bigger.
It gets bigger.
Yeah.
And you're wasting energy on that. All you can do is negotiate with it in a way and go, I need you to have a different role, basically. And you can keep monitoring, but don't be a little fucker.
Yeah.
Be someone who's there supporting me and going like,
The jeering squad.
We need to hit that mark.
Yeah.
We need to hit that mark. We need to pick up our cues. We need to not speak over that actor. But also, I'm not going to say no one's going to believe what you're doing here. No one's going to be. And also, that little fucker can get in your head and go, "I'll tell you what, if you do something quite clever here, then that'll work." Because that's not. I don't ultimately think that does work. I mean, it might get something for a shot, great. But like the little fucker that goes, "Go on, just be a smart ass, be a smart Alec, do the little clever thing that makes you look like a fancy actor."
Yeah.
That's not. It's the internal critic.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
the critic can give you 5 stars, and if you listen to your reviews too much, then you start believing your own hype.
And do you think that the little fucker is actually part of like in sync with imposter syndrome?
Oh my god, yeah.
So basically,
The little fucker speaks.
That's the speaking
he's
part
speaking
of
out
imposters
loud, going.
Yeah.
They
Why are you here?
Any second now, they're going to realise that
You don't know what you're doing.
You don't know what you're doing.
Because we all have that, right?
All have that. I literally have that about being on your podcast because I'm here going like.
So do I, by the way.
Yeah, good, absolutely. I think a little bit of it is healthy, not like syndromatically, if that's a word. Not like.
I think a lot of it's healthy, actually, because it's like if you don't have it, you think you're all that in a bag of chips, and then you're screwed.
Yeah,
you know?
you
got nowhere to go.
You should be reminded that it is that we're incredibly lucky to be doing it and stuff like that. But when it's overwhelming, absolutely. And I genuinely about this, I was like, why we're gonna talk, and he's like talking to a mid-ranking. Definition of a jobbing actor who's had a decent, if unspectacular, career thus far. Hasn't quite fulfilled his potential. No, but that's like
but the reason that I wanted to talk to you was because of those conversations that we had. Where
because you are.
But because you had an interesting take on things, and you've thought about things, and you're thoughtful about things, which is which not a lot of people are. A lot of people are like, I don't know, I just do it and whatever. But
sometimes I do just do it and whatever.
But I also think, like you were talking about, as an actor, like, you know, looking for truth as an actor. Mm-hmm. And I think that there are not a lot of people who, I don't know, I think people just sort of go about what they do. Mm-hmm. And so the people that I find who are interesting are people who are introspective about what they do and sort of go, why do I do that?
How do I do that?
And what makes that good? And what is good? And what's bad? And
well, that's sort of empathy as well, isn't it? Which I link to generosity and in the theory I've just come up with on the spot about what makes great acting.
Which will now be bandied about and taught in schools.
But it's you can't do that unless you're empathetic.
I think you're right. And I don't think you could be empathetic if you think that you're perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean,
because if you can't improve, then
no. And I also think you have to understand what it is to fail or to think you've failed.
Yeah,
to
and it's a challenge, man. I want to be right all the time.
Yeah,
I want to get it right. I want to do it right.
Yeah.
I want people to say well done. I don't want people to say you haven't been a good boy.
But it goes back to what I was saying before about putting the Steadicam down and going. Did you ever put it down and say that was and that was I nailed that. And number one, not only have I never done that, but I don't think I ever want to do that.
Yeah,
like I don't think I ever want to not think that I could do better.
I bet your favorite shot you've ever done. Do you have a favorite shot you've ever done?
I have 3 shots. They're not favorites. I have 3 shots that I think I've done well in my career.
That's interesting because it's
35 years.
Oh, I'm really interested.
3 shots that I actually
and
one of them, by the way, is not a moving shot.
Good.
It's a static frame.
Is it?
And I just am completely.
Well, because I was going to say I would be willing to bet that your favorite is not the same as your best.
Yeah, probably. Well, I don't know what my best is. I don't know what that. I don't even know what that means.
Neither do I really. What I mean? What am I trying to say? It's.
I think if I had a best shot, that would if I thought I had this is the best shot I've done,
you'd retire.
But again, it would be like, I put the Steadicam down and said, "There's nothing better I can do." Yeah. It's like because there's always every shot that I look at that I've done, I can only see the things that I wish I'd done differently.
Do you have a favorite?
No, not really.
Okay.
but even, I mean, it's also, and all of them are so different. You know, I have a seminar that I do where I show a shot from West Wing and then I show a shot from Shame. And I've done this so many times. And the other day I was doing it and someone pointed this out to me and they said, you know, what's really interesting is the West Wing, and she said, not to belittle what you're talking about, but the West Wing, all you had to do was keep the right people in the frame at the right time because the story is all in the dialogue. And she said very specifically, I'm not belittling that.
Yeah,
it's incredible and blah, blah, blah. And she said, but Shame, which has no dialogue in the sequence, you were part of the story. Like the framing is part of the storytelling.
Oh my God, yeah.
But it was interesting, and I had never put those two together. And she said, I think, do you go with the first one and then the second one for that reason? And of course I'm thinking, well, no, but alphabetically they came.
Why do you show those two as a? I mean, why is the Shame? Is that the static shot?
Oh wait, no.
Is the Shame shot the static shot?
No, it's not. Have you seen Shame?
Yeah.
It's a tough movie to watch. It's an amazing movie.
It's not a laugh a minute.
No, the Shame. The shot that I show from that is in the subway when she stands up and grabs the thing, and then he runs up the stairs and tries to find her, and then realizes that he's lost her. Because there's so much that Sean Bobbitt and I talked about in creating the frames and that, and it's all about where the camera is and whatever. Not, by the way, it's all about what they're doing, but I'm a big part of that. Whereas the West Wing shot is like, these people are talking, then those people are talking, and these people are talking, and those people are talking. And yes, I have to do certain things, but really what I'm doing is transferring between bits of dialogue at the right time and everything. But it's a very different. And of course now I go in and I'm like, the reason I'm showing you the shot next is because I'm full well stealing that. But it's just, I don't know, it's an interesting thing. I want to ask you another thing that I thought of was, it always seems to me that the great performances that I see, and I think this translates to camera operating. Yeah. It seems like it's where if they just pushed it a little farther, it almost wouldn't work. Like they're coming right up to the
edge of failure.
The edge of failure.
Oh yeah.
Is that?
Yeah, I think that's also a reason why some of the best actors on the planet have it in them, have the ability to potentially be terrible,
because they go over the line because they're so close to it. Yeah.
Or the ingredients didn't come together. You know, it wasn't the right. It wasn't the right setup. It wasn't the right.
That's interesting. That's really interesting.
I think great actors can be right
because
on the
they're
edge
taking
of
chances, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think just to take a out of the bag example of an actor we were talking about earlier, Gary Oldman. I've never seen him be terrible, but he goes he's on the edge of.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes.
Again,
sometimes he's doing nothing, and it's.
But again, you like I mentioned it before, The Professional.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, his performance in Professional is it's ridiculous, but it works perfectly within that movie.
In Leon.
But it's yeah.
Leon, he's almost in a different film.
Yeah.
But it's perfect because this character is almost in a different film, and it's great actors are right on the edge of, and I think great filmmakers and everything are great on the edge of getting it wrong.
Yep.
And we've talked about that in terms of fun sometimes as well. Like, you know, on the edge of making each other, being on the edge of laughing.
Yeah.
Is the best, even in the most miserable circumstances. You know, if you're alive inside and on the edge of
there's something
fucking it up,
and also the fear.
Then you've got to listen, and you've got to watch, and you've got to be hyper. I guess the sort of the animal in us comes alive, doesn't it? That bit of our brain that might be about to get killed by a snake in the jungle is like, right.
Yeah. All your synapses are firing.
Yeah. I've got to make this leap to the next tree just right, or I'm dead.
Yep. That's amazing. That's interesting because I think it's...
Do you feel that when you're moving fast?
There's no question about it because like when I'm just sort of like... So usually it doesn't always happen because it doesn't call for it. But it's the things that I'm scared of that I'm like, oh God, I don't know if I can pull this off. And some of it has to do with my age because I've been doing this for a while, and some of it has to do with it's a really hard shot. But those are the ones that like you know... When you get it, it's just because you just pushed yourself and like, oh, I can push myself that far.
Yeah, I mean, I think Phil, who we just did Da Vinci with, he allowed him. I remember doing one of the last shots of the film, if not.
He's Philip Ettinger, the lead actor in Da Vinci.
And he did the brilliant take with you guys like pushing in on him really, and he just was like, I can give you one more.
Yeah.
And I don't think he was like, it might not be it, but I want to try something one more time.
Yeah.
And then I think you did it and were like, I'm glad we did one more.
It happens. I will tell you, there was another thing in that movie that really, like, it doesn't happen all the time, but Marco Leonardi, who's this Italian actor who was in Cinema Paradiso, and just amazing.
He's gorgeous.
He did this thing where he came in the room like he was all upset about the wall and whatever, and you know, he's about to yell at Da Vinci, and he's upset because Da Vinci is sitting and doing portraits of the prostitute, and he's like, what are you doing and why is she in here and whatever. But he did this thing where he just comes in the room and his robes are flowing, and I was pushing towards him and I pushed into this big close-up, and I landed in the close-up and every hair on the back of my neck stood up. Yeah. Because it's just like, it was such a movie star moment. Like he just commands the screen.
Well, and also when the dance comes together, right?
Yeah, no. It was
when you land at the right
timing
moment
of it was perfect, and him. But I don't take credit for it. It's like it was him. And
shut up! Take credit because it's a 50-50.
But that was a 90-10. But so much of it was how he was he was literally commanding the frame. And there was, again, it wasn't anything that he was doing. It was just something about a presence, and I don't know what it was. But just when it all comes together, you're right, the dance. And I put the camera down, and John came over to him and he goes, "That was hardcore." And I was like, "It was, wasn't it?" Like I was like, "You saw that?" He was like, "Oh God, it was unbelievable."
You enjoy. I mean, you've got to put a lot of trust in John as well, haven't you? Because you're going blind half the time. And
yeah, well, I mean, no, and he's also doing his thing. And I mean, John Larson, great first AC, he was playing focus for.
He's amazing.
You weren't there by then; you had already gone. But on the last day of the shoot, almost the last scene, maybe. Yeah, we did this grotto sequence where he's like drinking and he's not, he's upset and he's trying blah blah, and we did a whole bunch of different things. And John and I said, "Can we put on the 180 millimeter lens and do a move through this thing, which is a very long lens and like there's focus is nothing." And there was this sort of mosh pit of dancing, and they were like, "Well, we don't." We were like, "No, there's gonna be something cool there." So we put it on and. For me, it's hard because it's a very long lens and whatever. But for John, he's got half an inch of focus. Yeah. I mean, he's got nothing. And he's so zen and just so sort of, as opposed to going, I have to find it. He just flows through these like, well, it's not there. There it is. That's the moment. And then, now we're back in it. Oh, there's that moment.
Yeah,
and
he's like feeling it. It's like feeling the music of it,
it's
you mean?
100%.
Oh.
And someone who's technical can't do that. Someone who's just lyrical and a storyteller can do that, which is exactly what he is.
Well, it's funny you say that because I just got the sense that he might be a bit amazing.
No, he's amazing.
Yeah.
He's an incredible...
Like having, we saw his work in Testament of Anne Lee.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I just got a feeling, I was like, oh shit, I think this guy might be really good at his job.
No,
so I sort of hovered over his shoulder and watched him do
is that right?
a few
Interesting.
Of different things.
Yeah.
And I said something to him about like, can you judge distances perfectly now? And he was like, oh, can I? He was like, I guess I can. Uh-huh. He's like, it's not distances. He was like, I can feel them. I know my body knows what a turn, how much of a twist I need. Yeah. Whatever the terminology would be on the focus ball.
The turn of the focus.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's like, it's not like I'm measuring it. I just know it.
Yeah.
It's like, I guess I've just been doing it long enough that I can feel it. I mean, maybe that's your 10,000 hours or something.
It's that, but it's also like that thing that we were talking about that you watched on the website, which if anybody's wondering, it's on the op.io under podcasts, I think. It's hoping for 85%. It's that he has achieved that flow state. Right. And you're not always there. I mean, and I've been there, but I'm not always there. But but when it comes in, it's not about 12 feet, 10 feet,
and it's
11
not about
feet.
effort.
It's about, it's not about effort. It's just about being in that moment and going with it. And we were on that 180. Like I put it down and I was like, John, that was unbelievable. And he goes, yeah, there was some great stuff in there. And like, but a lot of assistants that I work with, I never would have tried that because it's just like, that's throwing you under the bus. And it's going to be out of focus.
We're going to have 3 minutes of you not finding anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I knew with him that there could be 10 seconds in there that was worthwhile, but it would be worth it. And I knew there would be more because he's good, but that would be worth it. And it wouldn't make him feel like I didn't do my job. It's like, no, this is a hard shot and some of it's going to be good and some of it's not going to be good. But it was also this thing of like, there was a moment where Philip was dancing and he puts his head back. There's a guy and they're back to back. And so he puts his head back on the guy's shoulder, which is from the back. And the guy puts his head back on Philip. So their heads are next to each other. Yeah. And they're in this sea of people. And I was just going through foreground people to where you couldn't see them at all. And then they would appear for half a second.
Between heads or between...
Yeah, like arms and whatever. And I told everybody in the foreground, put your hands up. And, and so and John was just always right where it needed to be at the moment, which you can't control. You just have to zen, right? Yeah. But anyway, hopefully all that stuff makes the movie. It was a lot of fun.
I'm interested in this moment with that film for many reasons, but one of them is that the very nature of it. That most of the film is set in one big room.
90% is in one room.
In one room, and within that, most of it is pointing at a wall or someone thinking about a wall.
Yep.
Or if they're not doing that, then they're talking about a wall.
Yeah.
And my God, if it didn't have people like you and Will
Rexer,
DP,
yeah.
and Lucio,
Yeah.
absolutely. You could run out of ideas within 5-10 minutes.
Yep.
So were you, I guess what I'm asking, the interviewer has become the interviewee.
That's fine.
Pac-Man has eaten the magic fruit and is chasing the ghosts. Hunter has become the hunted. Were you consciously, as a team, going like, what can we do that we haven't done before?
Yeah.
Or what can we do that like reflects what this scene needs that isn't what that we could easily have just done the same setup?
Yeah. Yes and no. Yes and no. So first of all, you have to keep in mind Will Rexer, amazing cinematographer, who I, by the way, Will, I'll work with you whenever if you have any jobs on the
Likewise.
Had done so much work ahead of time with the directors, and we won't get into that, about how to move forward in the space and not do the same thing every time. And then when we got there, though, he's also the first person, and Lucio was right on board with this, to go, the idea was this, but let's throw this out. This is what works.
Yeah.
And so I think we were conscious. I think we were all conscious of let's not just keep doing the same thing because that's going to get boring, and we are in this room and like we have to do something different.
Yeah, we're not just.
But I also think we were very conscious first of what tells the story the best, and you may not be aware of it as much, or maybe you were, I don't know. But when we started the movie, we were going to have all these, there were a couple days where we had the techno crane, the big telescoping crane, and we did that huge shot going up to you that first time on the scaffolding, which was so great. And when we started the movie, not when we started, in pre-production, there were supposed to be a number of days of that. And you can do anything you want with that thing, right? And when we got to production, we ended up having 2 days out of like what we were in that room for 20 some days or something like that. And so it ended up being a 20-foot jib, and you saw it quite a bit with a remote head on the back and just on straight track somewhere. And so Mark Catania, who you remember, my Dolly Grip, is just like phenomenal, and
it's amazing. And there's trust there with you and him, right?
Oh, there's not only a trust.
There has to be, because he's your eyes sometimes.
He just completely understands.
Yeah. He's wonderful.
Mark is the guy that I work with in Atlanta, and there's a guy in LA who's equally as good, Steve Hubble, and like those guys, I'll go to battle with them any day. But so Mark and I sat down with him, and I said, so we don't have a techno crane, so. We don't have a techno crane. And we have all this stuff that's up high and on the scaffolding and whatever. And I said, so here's what I think we should do. And you tell me what you think. I said, I think we should pretend we have a techno crane and go, what do we want to do? And then we look at what we have, because the thing about having a jib on a track is you can go straight in one direction, but once you start to move it off axis, you can't do straight anymore very well, because the dolly has to move and the arm has to move exactly at the same time. So I said, so let's figure out what that line is, and that's how we put the track. And then everything else, let's make it an arc. Like, let's lean into the fact that it has to arc, so let's make it an arc and figure out backwards engineer. And at first it was like, this is so frustrating. But then we started to get into it. And then by the end of it, we were doing stuff that was like, I shouldn't say we. He was doing stuff that was so much better than I think we would have done. You need to work on
the humility thing.
But
you, plural.
No, but he was moving the camera. But I think it wouldn't have been as good if we had the techno crane, because we just would have gone, we can go with that.
You would have known how to do it, and you wouldn't have had to work with
it also would have been like, we can go in a straight line there, so let's go in a straight line.
Constraints are fun,
so it almost became like better than
because of the limitations.
And afterwards we were talking about it, and I think we're both better operators, he being a crane operator, me being an operator, having had to go through that and create these things that shouldn't exist.
Good.
It was really kind of fascinating. It was really cool. So to answer your question in a very roundabout way, yes, I think we were trying not to replicate, but the thing is, I think that we were more there were times where it was like, we did this before, but who cares? This is what this should be.
Yeah,
and that's what it had to be. Yeah. Well, I could talk to you about this for 12 hours, but this has been great. At some point, people need to get to work and turn this off. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
I really
man.
appreciate
I'm
it.
so
I hope
happy
that
to.
you enjoyed this. I had a great time with this.
I love
And now I know how to be an actor. So
Yeah, I know. I've given you
easy.
all the secrets
I'm going
I
to take
have.
all your jobs from you. So
None of them.
what I'm going to leave you with and ask you to leave us with is advice on someone getting into the business today on how to succeed, or something you know now that you wish you knew then.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I don't have one single actor. I don't have one single answer. But I think I've picked up things that I carry with me all the time. You know, one is, and a lot of them I think we've talked about. I think a key one would be there really is a joy in hard work. And I don't mean agonizing hard work. I don't mean like friction. I mean there is a joy in coming home tired from working hard, and lean into that, because you spend so much time not working. You spend so little time working that when you get the chance to do it, try and love it. And tell yourself that most of the time, I mean, look, there's going to be crap jobs. There's going to be jobs that were a mistake, and there's going to be jobs where people behave like arseholes, of course. Don't be the arsehole. But remember that almost all the time, if you're doing a job, there are a ton of other actors out there who are at least as good as you, who would kill to stand in the background and hold a bucket in that job, who would kill to just be there. I did a job in a theatre a while ago that was a play that I loved doing. It was a weird play. It was getting, people either loved it or hated it. It was very strange. And one or two of the actors in it had started to think about wanting to do the next job too early, in my opinion. And in the dressing room one night, they said, "Oh, we've only got like 21 more of this piece of shit, lads, and then we can move on to do a film or something." And just so happened that night, one of my best friends was in watching the show, who is one of the best actors I've ever known, David Kirkbride, and he hadn't worked for about 2 years. And I just thought, do you know what, mate? To the person who said that, I was like, should we go to the bar afterwards? Would you say that? Would you say only 21 more of this piece of shit in one of London's greatest theatres, you're playing one of the leads? Would you say that in front of an actor who hasn't worked for 2 years, who is better than both of us? No, so shut up. So anyway, enjoy the hard work. If someone is toxic and dangerous, whatever, fine, you're allowed to hate it and resent it. I would say, again, that we've discussed earlier, learn to love the crew. They're there to make you look good. They really are, and you can grow as an actor by collaborating with them. Make a note on your phone of their names whenever you go back to your little chair or your little dressing room, write down their names, because they've learned yours. You probably won't remember it, and you'll have to check it 5 times, but you then won't have to do the thing where on the last day you say their name way too many times because you've just learned it. I would say remember that most of the time, not all the time, most of the time, if you're an actor who's speaking, you're by default getting paid more than most people there. And you were not the first person to come into work, and you won't be the last person to leave. So remember that is the case, that you're being, relative to other people, overpaid. Relative to the rest of the world, maybe not overpaid, but relative to other people, you are. Prepare. You told me, who was it, Sarah Pauli or Laura Linney?
Laura Linney.
Laura Linney. If you're prepared, you can be relaxed. If you can be relaxed, you can be fierce. I was on a run when I was listening to that, and I stopped my run and wrote it down because I was like, yes, that's so good. Prepare, because any calorie that you're wasting at work on worrying about whether you've done the work is a calorie you could spend on either A, being good at your job, or B, having a good time. Because you can be prepared, you can be relaxed, you can be fierce. You can also, if you're prepared, you can be relaxed. If you're relaxed, you can have a good time. You can enjoy being there. You can enjoy dicking around craft services, talking to the camera operator. You can enjoy getting recommendations on where to go for a drink in the evening without them then saying, right, action, and you go, shit, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know my lines, I haven't got my intentions sorted out. Like, you can enjoy it if you're prepared. And I would say try this. I struggle with this one. Well, there's a few that I'll say and sorry, this is a monologue. It's okay to tie your self-worth to your work. It's inevitable, but just keep an eye on it. Because it's inevitable, because as an actor, you are the product that you're selling. You are your stock, and you are there going, hey, do you want to buy what I've got to sell? And most of the time people are saying no. So and when they do say yes, then you get a big a boost from it. That's completely inevitable. You can't pretend that doesn't happen. You can't pretend you don't feel completely rejected and worthless when you are rejected. And you can't pretend that you don't feel like Johnny Big Balls when you get a job. That's going to happen. But just don't let it define you. Just keep an eye on it. Like, you don't say, get behind me, Satan. Say, get beside me, Satan, so I can keep an eye on you and be in negotiation with you. That's hard, man. I've felt very low worth when I've been unemployed for long periods of time, and people think that you're working all the time because maybe something you filmed 2 years ago is coming out, and they have no idea, and you want to go, yeah, but I've been miserable. Keep your community around you as much as possible. Again, I struggle with that sometimes, because when I'm finding it hard, I retreat into myself. And luckily, some good friends notice that in me, and they're like, if I haven't heard from you for a while, or you've avoided texting me back, then I need to ask the how are you question, not the what have you been up to question. So, use them, and that's like ongoing with me. I have to tell myself that all the time. Again, it's that thing of me that just wants to not fuck it up, just get it right and move on. And stay engaged with the world around you. It like, art is worthwhile. It's not. Sometimes we are changing the world with our art. Sometimes we are making stuff that people enjoy for a couple of hours and then forget, and that's fine. But there's no shame in art, right? The world does need it, even if it is just to distract themselves. So don't feel. I sometimes feel guilty about going to enjoy art or a film. This voice in my head will be like, I could go to the cinema and watch a film, but like, oh, why would I do that? I don't deserve to do that, because like I should be working on my craft. Like, that's part of it. Mm-hmm. That you soak it up. I saw Jessie Buckley give an interview where she was like, you are an artist. Consume art. You need to. And feel no guilt about it. Stay engaged in the world. Don't think that you've got all the answers. Another really good acting teacher I had, who's no longer with us, Wyn Jones, I remember him saying when I was at drama school, he said something like, you're only as interesting an actor as you are a person. And I was 18 or 19. I was like, no, excuse me, because I am a really interesting actor and a very boring person. The older I've got, I'm like, no, you do need to you do need to remain an interested person. I think if you're interested, you become interesting. And I guess like end of this weird philosophy I've come up with is like, you've never made it, so that's okay. Like you don't make it to the top. I guess technically you could say you do, but I don't think, like I said, you never make CEO of acting. So bring other people up with you. They're not going to get a job at your expense. They're not going to get the promotion. Maybe, heaven forbid, you coach them for an audition that you wanted and they get it, but they'll remember you. So send the ladder back down, and be the actor that firstly is still acting when they're 70 or 80, and secondly that young actors go, I want to be like them. Full circle. Be a McKellen. Be one of those ones that, like, a teenage actor will watch him do the film of Macbeth and be like, that's how you do acting. And an actor who's rapidly approaching middle age will see an interview and go, that's how you do being a megastar. Yeah, thus endeth my spiel.
I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. We'll be back soon with another great episode. Don't forget to check us out on theop.io for all sorts of information on operating and storytelling. So thanks for listening and have a great day.